Goswami on the debate at 10, powered by Reva University, Quick Heal and Green Lamb Laminates.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're looking at the situation in Manipur and the emergence of a ghastly video in which women are being paraded naked has shocked the entire country. And it has brought an intense focus on the handling of the situation in Manipur. Having said that, I'd just like Abhishek and me to begin with our overall analysis of the situation in Manipur. The first question, of course, is what is the situation on the ground today? The video is of May. What is the situation on the ground today is the first question we should look at, and whether the situation has improved, is the same, or has got worse. I think we need to establish that in the context of the debate today to start with. What do you think,
Absolutely, Arnab. So, given the fact that the video has done about 24 hours of virality, and yet the situation is by and large calm.
Yeah.
No arrests have taken place.
No, what is the situation on the ground today?
On the ground today, absolutely calm. Not even any sporadic incident. In fact, over the last 1 month, if you look at the events in Manipur post the visit of the Union Home Minister, things have sort of calmed down vis-a-vis the month before that.
So we should not look upon this particular video as a reflection of, or assume that things have flared up today.
Not at all.
Because the video can give a sense of immediacy.
Yes.
But you're saying that's not the situation
This
on
is
the ground
actually a
today.
video of May 4th.
May 4th.
And
so we
events,
need to, yeah, that's very important.
Yes. So events which made us feel as if Manipur is burning,
Yeah.
happened in that month.
Yeah.
And then the situation has attenuated.
So that is very important to establish first. Second point, which I did say in my opening remarks, viewers, please remember, when you're talking about Manipur, you cannot take away the national security angle of it. And I appeal upon political parties who feel pre-2024 there's a good issue to sort of, pin the blame on the Modi government, make it look like there's a law and order crisis in the country, to understand that there are 36 armed terrorist groups of varying size in Manipur who get arms across the border from Myanmar, and these are Chinese arms. And this is an area through which the Asian highway passes, through Kuki-dominated areas. It is in China's interest to have the situation in Manipur flare up.
Yeah.
So if we have any sense of responsibility in terms of national interest, I would say don't speak loosely about the situation in Manipur politically. What do you think? You want to add to that?
Absolutely, Arnab. So it's not the first time that the Chinese are trying to create trouble in the northeast. They have succeeded for some reasons. So Kuki versus Maithi has many fault lines. It's tribal versus non-tribal. It's poppy versus rice. And so many other factors coming in. So I think the national security aspect has to be kept in mind. The fact that the government was removing AFSPA. And the same people who say that AFSPA should be removed are now saying why the army is not being allowed free hand. Obviously, there is a national security.
That is one of the biggest ironies we must talk about, because a lot of activists in the northeast say AFSPA should be removed, AFSPA should be removed. A lot of lobbies in Delhi say AFSPA should be removed, and they are the same people who are saying today the army should be given a free run. Well, for their information, on the 25th of March, the centre did remove AFSPA from many more areas of the northeast. As of today, 19 police stations in 7 districts do not have AFSPA. The army has claimed that this has affected their operations. So it's very convenient, and I have always been of the view, give the army the full powers. You don't have to go with this human rights view all the time that AFSPA is bad. They are the same people who today say the army should intervene. If you don't want the army to, you decide today. There is ethnic war of an unparalleled proportion that has happened in Manipur. Who do you expect will handle the situation? You don't trust the state police. You don't want to give the army powers. Are you going to ask the traffic police to handle the situation in Manipur? You have to be very realistic about these things. The third point I want to just make here is about the Congress response to the existing situation. And this is the last point I want you to come in on it. Indira Gandhi has carried out airstrikes in Mizoram. Colossal failure. The Congress specialized in worsening the situation in Nagaland, in Manipur, in Mizoram. And I'm not being partisan about it, but any sensible observer of the Northeast will say, in the last 7 to 8 years, for the first time you have relative peace across the Northeast. This is a terrible flare-up. But you don't have the kind of situation you had in the 90s. Right? Or the early 2000s. And this has been achieved with great difficulty. And that even if you're partisan about it, you have to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
That the Modi government has handled the situation firmly, well, till this particular flare-up. It has messed up completely in this case, but it's not reflective of an overall collapse of the situation in the Northeast after 2014.
So the contrast is clear, Arnab, the way this government has handled it. So, but for 4 districts, I believe AFSPA has gone from Assam.
Yeah.
Same for Nagaland and Mizoram, and many parts of Nagaland and Mizoram, and only for 7 districts in Manipur. Also, remember, you have a situation where our own air force is used against our own people by Indira Gandhi's government. And then you have a situation where quietly our defense secretary, along with the diplomats from the Ministry of External Affairs, flies down to Myanmar and speaks to the
and China controls
there.
Myanmar.
Yes, and that's
China
why
controls
you counsel
Myanmar.
them. And then you have a Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Myanmar releasing a statement, please don't interfere, requesting their own people to not interfere in the internal matters of Manipur. So I think quiet diplomacy has worked, and things have been a little peaceful since then. Remember, the Defense Secretary's visit was July 2.
Yeah, you know, in the India-US joint statement, there was a mention of Myanmar banks procuring arms from China.
Yes.
And I think any keen observer of international relations should not undermine the fact that there is a rising Chinese influence in Myanmar, which directly adversely affects the situation in Manipur. We can't do poetry over these situations. I hate the fact that there are people who don't know enough about the Northeast or insurgency or conflict who make these comments and forget the fact that in a similar situation in the 1980s, Indira Gandhi had to use airstrikes in Mizoram. So these are some realities we want to put out. And one last thing before I start. The mystery of how the entire international media landed up in Churachandpur on the 3rd of May.
That's big mystery, or no?
It's a big mystery.
How come BBC and Al Jazeera
all the entire international media landed up pre-planned manner in Churachandpur on the 3rd of May when there was a tribal solidarity march that was going on? How did it happen? What was happening on the ground? Were they fanning the flames? And today they take a different view of the situation. Viewers, I just want to say ethnic conflict is never easy to handle. It must not be provoked. It must not be incited. And even today, when there are issues regarding drug trafficking, trans-border movements, then there are issues regarding arms trafficking, which have been prevalent in the Northeast. To make any irresponsible statement in the context of the political situation nationally will be most inappropriate. Having said that, here's a background of what's happened in Manipur, and then we open the debate.
May 3rd, Churachandpur district of Manipur witnessed large-scale violence. The situation has spiraled out of control, and for the last 2 months, Manipur has been burning.
To understand the complexities of Manipur, we have to understand the ethnicities involved. The Meiteis are majority and the Kukis are minority. The Meiteis are non-tribals, the Kukis are tribals. The Meiteis are 53% and the Kukis, along with the Nagas and rest others, come to about 43%. A trigger was provided when the Manipur High Court directed the state to tell the center that the Meiteis actually can be provided the ST status. The Kukis hit back with a protest on May 3rd by the Tribal Solidarity March, and that's when the fuse burst and violence started.
For over 2 months, 10,000 troops of Indian Army and paramilitary forces have been stationed in Manipur to ensure peace. Houses of ministers and MLAs have also come under attack.
This is the official residence of a minister of N. Biren Singh cabinet, which was vandalized by a mob last evening. They not only vandalized but also set ablaze the entire official residence.
At least 142 people have been reported dead. And over 54,000 people have been displaced due to ethnic clashes between Kukis and Meiteis.
Another way of understanding the divide is that the Meiteis, being non-tribals, stay in the valley. The Kukis, being tribals, live in the hills and the forests. Because they are non-tribals, the Meiteis cannot buy land in the hills, while Kukis, of course, they can move anywhere. That has led to a pressure situation in terms of population size in the valley, which constitutes just about 30% of the entire state of Manipur.
Months back, when Union Home Minister Amit Shah visited the violence-hit areas, there was a glimmer of hope for peace.
जिन लोगों के पास हथियार हैं, उनसे भी मैं अपील करना चाहता हूं कि अपने अपने हथियार पुलिस के सामने सरेंडर कर दें। जिनके पास से हथियार मिलेंगे, उन पर कठोर न्यायिक धाराएं लगाई जाएंगी। तो मेरा सभी से अपील है कि जिनके पास हथियार हैं, वो सभी लोग पुलिस के सामने अपने हथियारों को सरेंडर कर दें।
But the violence was triggered once again. Calls for resignation of Chief Minister grew louder, but to no action.
Facing flack and under national pressure, Chief Minister N. Biren Singh decided to quit. He sent in his resignation letter to the centre, but then public pressure was built up by his supporters, which led to a situation where the centre had to tell him to continue.
The violence is now getting out of hand. The situation in Manipur cannot be blindsided anymore. Let's debate.
On the debate this evening, I have Paujal Chauba, who is the executive editor of the Frontier Manipur, and I have Sangboy Khalpa, who blames the government. He's from the Kuki community. Beena Lakshmi Nepram, founder director of the Manipur Women Gun Survivors Network. Kirip Chalia, former member of parliament from Assam. Subir Bhaumik, very senior journalist, extensive experience in the Northeast. Agnes Kharsing, social activist who feels peace should prevail from Shillong. Pratim Ranjan Bose, senior journalist from Kolkata. Rajat Sethi, who's been a former advisor to the Manipur Chief Minister. And Charu Pragya of the BJP. First of all, I'd like to go across to Mr. Chauba. Mr. Chauba, the accounts that we have about this unfortunate incident of which the video has emerged is that when the women were paraded naked, the police was there. And the police handed over the women, I repeat, the police handed over the women to the mob. Now, the Chief Minister, it was a Meitei mob. The Chief Minister is from the Meitei community. So obviously the suspicion is on the role, function, bias of the state government. Is that not an obvious question to ask in the present circumstances, Mr. Chauba?
I think you should put your point across in a more, what do you say, informative way. I'm not sure what this question is implied at, but if you're asking about a situation which blew out of proportion, the one where two women were paraded naked, The Wire reported in their May 27, I think, edition, a paper which I respect very much. They said the women from their accounts that they were not raped. However, we clearly condone this act. We are with the Kuki community on this one in condemning this particular act. This is a very deplorable, this is a heinous crime in itself. There is no justification for that particular this violence. However, what we are asking now is why the silence of Mr. Modi. Was this incident so violent that Mr. Modi decided to speak up? What about the rest of the 2 months and nearly 15 days of violence, of killings, 140 people being killed, of displacement, 50,000 people? And so many troops have been pumped into action. Why is there no action? Why is the government sitting and watching something like a cockfight, happening in Manipur, and they're just standing on the side, just watching this particular fight, when within 24 hours this violence can stop? So why is the Indian government deliberately fanning the flames, as your program says? But the silence of Modi ji, Mr. Modi, is a big bone of contention over here. This is what we are asking. Weren't the violence in the last 2.5 months were not enough for Mr. Modi to speak out? Why only
Ms. Chauba,
Yeah.
I would like a response from Mr. Sangboy Khalpa, who represents the Kuki community, to your statement that the women have said in an earlier version that they were not raped. And Mr. Khalpa, is there any doubt over that? Are you trying to say, Mr. Chauba, that the women are making up this version? Mr. Khalpa, आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे? Khalpa जी, Sangboy Khalpa जी.
बोले सर, मेरा नेटवर्क थोड़ा खराब
जो
है सर, तो
जो
थोड़ा धीरे-धीरे
पाउचल
करके
चाउबा
बोलिए।
ने अभी कहा, उस पर आप मैं हिंदी में पूछ रहा हूं आपको, कल्पा जी।
बोले सर।
जो चाउबा जी हैं, एग्जीक्यूटिव एडिटर है फॉर फ्रंटियर मणिपुर पेपर के, इन्होंने कहा है कि आज मोदी जी इस पर रिस्पॉन्ड क्यों कर रहे हैं, पिछले 2 महीने से नहीं किया है, ये उनका सवाल है, इनका कहना है। दूसरी बात जो ये कह रहे हैं कि एक वर्जन आई है कि द वुमेन हैव नॉट बीन रेप्ड, जो मुझे लगता है ये कहना गलत है। ये कह रहे हैं कि is that what you said, Mr. Chauba? You are saying there's a doubt about whether the women were raped. Would you like to say that again? I want to hear it from you again. Did I hear that right?
Yes, yes. I agree. This is not me saying, I am quoting The Wire, who is an independent media, a very credible news organization. In the particular article, they have interviewed both women. Both women have said they were molested, they were paraded naked, but none of them said that they were raped. So this is a police investigation now. It's up to the police to investigate whether it has happened or not. But the early report, and I'm quoting The Wire,
FIR has a rape section.
There has been no
but
rape.
Abhishek,
Just a correction. We are going by the police version. The FIR has sections of rape, 376 included. So obviously there is an investigation of rape going on. There is a complaint of rape. That's why that's happening. So you might want to, for whatever reasons, to deny that rape happened. And for God's sake, let's not dehumanize that further. The picture speaks for itself. The visuals speak for themselves. The manner in which the women have been humiliated. I mean, can it get worse than that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I already said,
Khalpa ji, अभी situation ground में क्या है?
Kuki community in condemning this.
अभी ग्राउंड में सिचुएशन क्या है अभी इस वक्त?
जो इन्होंने बोला वो बिल्कुल भी सच नहीं है, क्योंकि जब ये मुद्दा शुरू हुआ था डेट 3 को, उस दिन से लेके कई सारे लोगों का रेप हुआ है जो कि वीडियो नहीं लिया गया था। और आज खुशकिस्मती बोलूं क्या बोलूं, ये वीडियो सामने आ गया इनके हरकतों का। तो आज ये आप खुद देख सकते हो, मेरा तो मुंह भी बंद हो गया, क्योंकि जो हमारे इधर रिलीफ कैंप है चुरचानपुर में, जब इधर आए थे लमका में, उनके साथ हमने जब बात किया तो उनके खुद भाई बहनों ने उनके आंखों के सामने कुछ डिस्टेंस में छुप के उन्होंने देखा कि वो लोग कैसे रेप करके उनको मार रहे हैं, गला काट रहे हैं, हाथों को काट रहे हैं, पैरों को काट रहे हैं। आप यहाँ पे हमारे इधर लमका में आइए, रिलीफ कैंप में कुछ लोग हैं, उनसे बात कीजिए, पूछिए, अपने आप उस आंखों से खुद पूछिए आके। बात को ऐसे पुलिस केस में, अगर पुलिस केस में ना जाने क्या क्या हो जाता है इधर इंडिया में, हमारे देश में पुलिस केस में लोग क्या क्या बोल देते हैं। ऐसे तो झूठ नहीं बोलना चाहिए। जो सच है वो सामने आ चुका है और आप सबको पूरा वायरल वीडियो में दिखाई दे रहा है वो लोग कैसे हरकतें कर रहे हैं उनके साथ, कैसे उनके प्राइवेट पार्ट्स को हाथ लगा रहे हैं। आप खुद देख सकते हैं पूरा। अब ये झूठ बोलने का वक्त नहीं है। मोदी जी,
मैं सवाल, कैन आई गेट एवरीवन ऑन? जी 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 बोलिए।
हाँ, मोदी जी 2 महीने से चुप थे, आज क्यों बोल रहे हैं? ऐसे बोल रहे हैं लोग। आज से पहले ऐसे घटिया पिक्चर सामने नहीं आया होगा शायद, जो कि इनके हरकतों को प्रूव करे। किसी ने उसका वीडियो नहीं लिया होगा, किसी ने उनका जो रैप करते हुए वीडियो दिखाई नहीं होगा। शुरुआत के दिन में मई 3 को एक लड़की को उन्होंने मैतेई की एक मैतेई औरत ने घेर रखा था उस लड़की को, घर से मतलब नीचे निकाल के। और जो भी सराउंडिंग में खड़े थे लड़के मर्द, उनको बोल रहे थे, इन मैतेई में बोल रहे थे वो लोग, उसको रेप करने के लिए अंदर ले जाओ। ऐसे ये लोग हरकतें कर रहे थे। तो अभी तो झूठ बोलना बंद, साफ आ गया सामने।
चारू प्रज्ञा,
अपनी आंखों से खुद देख लो, वीडियो में देख लो।
Has there been an attempt? अब मैं जरा बीजेपी के जो प्रवक्ता है उनको कुछ पूछ रहा हूं, खलपा जी। चारू प्रज्ञा एंड रजत सेठी on one side, and Kirip Chalia and Bina Lakshmi on the other side. Subirda, I'm just coming to you. Charu Pragya, has there been an attempt at putting a lid on the information flow from Manipur? At trying to put it under the carpet, as it were? Bury it and let the tyranny of distance come into play, that if the information doesn't come out, you will not be asked questions. And now it's convenient for you to say, why has this video come out on the eve of the parliament session? I can turn around and ask you, why did you not make any arrests for 77 days? You were trying to bury the issue.
Fair enough, Arnab. I have goosebumps by listening to the account of what actually transpired, and every word I have heard on your show today, it has moved me beyond belief. I have no words, honestly. And thankfully you've not put up the video again, but enough of us have seen that video. I thank you for preserving whatever dignity was left of the women and not showing it again. See, the fact of the matter is, I am not here to defend what happened. None of us can defend it. And we shouldn't be attempting to do that. I'm not even going to tell you why the video is doing the rounds 77 days, 80 days later after the incident that happened. What happened is a crime against humanity. It's a crime against India. And the fact that we can see it all, and so many people took it for all these days without speaking up about it, is horrifying. I cannot imagine the extent to which our society has gone to now. Whatever are the differences that are in Manipur, political differences, communal differences, there are the fights between people who live on ground there, whatever it might be. But I cannot imagine what has happened to bring humanity to a point such as this, that nobody thought it was important to speak up.
You will blame society, you will blame humanity,
yesterday.
You will blame the locals,
I'm going to stand by.
You will blame everybody but yourself.
I'm taking responsibility.
Bina Lakshmi Nepram, on this. I don't think, I understand. I am with you in your expression of horror at the video. But I do understand that there was an attempt. It's clear as daylight to me that there has been an attempt at playing down the situation. And I am appalled that the arrest has happened only today. Does it require the national media to rise up, raise the video, talk about it for you to make an arrest? Why was an arrest not made till now? Bina Lakshmi Nepram, please. Bina Lakshmi ji.
Absolutely, Arnab. This particular Manipur has seen women's bodies being used as sites of war for a long time. Sexual violence and conflict is a reality which has been happening from 1970s, when the Naga woman was raped, rose, and she died. And then we have many cases of Thangja Manorama case of 2004. And after the brutal rape and extrajudicial execution of Thangja Manorama, now we are seeing one of the most horrifying. Rape is not just banal penetration. The fact that our sisters were paraded itself for us as women of Manipur and as people of Manipur, we condemn this, and we are heartbroken, and we're absolutely saddened, shocked and anguished at what we saw. and the entire Manipur and the entire country, we condemn this in the highest level. We are calling for ensuring that the perpetrators of this crime should be punished. And not just that, absolutely, we are right that this crime against humanity is not just about what happened to our sisters. Beheadings have happened on both sides. I have so many killings done at gunpoint. Mass graves are there in Manipur. By the way, before this program, you were discussing that the situation is back to normal. It is not back to normal, Arnab. There are bunkers still, these areas. Why is the partitioning of Manipur happening? And mind you, the people of Manipur, 3-point people are rising, because if Manipur is balkanized, it'll start a balkanization of northeast of India and will severely hurt India's national security interests.
Who's trying to balkanize it? Who's trying to balkanize it? What is the trigger?
You should ask the National Security Advisor, Mr. Doval. There are attempts, as we can see, as Manipuris, to break Manipur apart. These are not just, so this conflict for us, for the people of Manipur, is not just against Kukis and Meiteis. I had teachers who were...
So do you believe that reservation should be given to the Meitei community? That issue, just to respond, I want to get others also into it. That issue,
anymore.
Abhishek can throw light. No, it is the trigger, Bina Lakshmi, listen. The trigger is the issue of reservations for the Meitei community. Please, let's not beat around the bush. This is the issue. This was the trigger. This is the reason for the protest. This is what the Manipur High Court spoke for. This is what the Supreme Court criticized. So the issue is the reservation for the Meitei community. You tell me, are you for or against the reservation for the Meitei community?
The democracy of this country, anyone can demand what they want, right? Whether it's a ST status or whatever they want. But then it has the rule of law of the land. India is a democracy. Where is the rule of law? The rule of law decides who give anyone anything.
No, one minute. Rule of law and all are... 1 minute. Bina Lakshmi, may I just try to make this a very concrete debate? Rule of law is a phrase, I agree with you. But you see, none of you are addressing the elephant in the room. The issue is that the Manipur High Court said, Rajat, that you told the governor, you decide the issue of reservation for Meitei community in 1 month. This is a highly contentious issue. It flared things up. Will you blame the Manipur High Court? Will you, Bina Lakshmi, blame the Manipur High Court for giving that kind of an instruction in an order which has still not been stayed? Absolutely. Why will you not criticize the Manipur High Court? Am I right? Subir Bhaumik is on the debate. Then let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Absolutely, in the sense of like what is happening again.
Jurisdiction here. Whether, sorry, is somebody continuing? If I'm coming on,
go on, Subir.
3 quick points here. First, the jurisdiction issue should be examined. Whether it was in the powers of the Manipur High Court to actually pass a verdict on which community can be accorded scheduled caste or scheduled tribe status. Is that within the jurisdiction of the High Court? Well, this has to be examined. If that was not the case, why was
it's not,
Subirda,
it's not. I will tell you it's not. Could it be, is it not a case of judicial overreach?
That's exactly my point. Yes, exactly. So that's exactly my point. If that was the case, the Advocate General of the Manipur High Court had to warn the High Court that, sir, this is not your jurisdiction. Leave it to the President of India and the Supreme Court, and you don't pass a judgment here which will needlessly, because your judgment is not going to affect the situation on ground except inflaming the situation. This is number one. Number two.
Exactly. Spot on, Subirda.
And I have to... No, wait. No, but Arnab, let me tell you, I've covered Manipur since 1980. People have fought people. Nagas have fought Kukis. They've shot each other. But this kind of rape by one community against another, unheard of. I don't know of any single case. there were allegations of rape against the security forces. That's what Thangjam Manorama case was all about. And the women going to Kangla Fort, undressing and saying, Indian army come and rape us and all that. But there was, in the fight between Kukis and Nagas, or, the different communities, their militant groups, there was not a single case, to the best of my knowledge, of rape by one community, people from one community against another. So I don't know whether this is the mainstream effect catching up. A. B. This whole thing has gone on for 70 days. Now, I am appalled by another thing, this absolute failure of governance, in which police people belonging to different communities giving out weapons to not militants, but troublemakers, rioters of their own community, and then, setting up drop boxes. Arnab, if I and you were to run away with police weapons, won't we be sued under Arms Act? Here they are being asked, please come and drop your weapons, nothing will happen to you. And then not even 1/4 of the weapons come back. Now, Arnab, when these kind of weapons remain with troublemakers, not insurgents, these are not insurgents who have stormed police stations and taken away weapons, they were given out. Point is, insurgents also have some objective, they won't go and attack, without a purpose. But troublemakers in the mode of rioting with sophisticated weapons at their disposal, how the hell do you think you can control the situation? And the central forces, without cooperation from state police, they are looking for needles in the haystack. It's easy to blame the army, but the army and the Assam Rifles have a huge task unless and until we all know in counter-insurgency situation in Northeast, that without the support of state police, their intelligence, because they're much more clued up on ground, the central forces have a huge task at hand. And that's exactly what is happening. Now, and the last point I would like to make here is, this big hoo-ha about poppy cultivation. Fine. We are all against poppy cultivation, which has been encouraged by Burmese drug lords, because they can't access their own poppy fields in Myanmar because of the huge conflict situation, the civil war situation there. But the point is, poppy cultivation in Manipur is a problem of the future. When these Burmese drug lords will move into Manipur to set up processing factories, what about existing Burmese drugs which are coming into Manipur, going through the Jiribam route into Silchar, into Tripura, into Bangladesh? Who are the people who are involved in it? Are they all cookies? No. You go and talk to Thanajam Brinda, my dear sister, who under huge pressure after she wanted to make some arrests, are very powerful people. And those who are not cookies, they were in possession of a lot of Burmese drugs.
No,
Burmese drug lords even have in the past come as far as Calcutta to set up drug processing in the house of the ex-CBI official.
Subirda, 1 minute.
If you are getting me, this poppy versus rice is, though important, but only one factor in so many that we are discussing. And if you look at it from the national security prism, poppy is the most serious one, perhaps. Because remember, poppy gives them more money.
Okay,
vis-a-vis rice. And that is the reason why there is one of the grudges of the Maitis that poppy cultivation is making the cookies richer.
And it is happening only.
I'm taking a very short break and coming back in 30 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the quick heel 30-second commercial break and back right after 30 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 10 years. With top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, mass comm, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
Two young women are stripped, paraded and gang raped. The video surfaces after 2 months. Only one arrest has taken place so far.
Yeah, viewers, coming back to the situation in Manipur, and people are talking about what is the trigger. And one very critical issue that we need to look at is what was the Manipur High Court order? The Manipur High Court order, which said in 30 days the governor is to decide a position on reservations. Now, it's an unthought order, with the greatest respect to the court. This issue has been going on since 1956. The High Court wakes up one day and says decide in the next 30 days on a very contentious issue is extremely irresponsible. And in May this year, when the Manipur matter reached the Supreme Court, Rajat, a bench led by the Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud criticized the High Court order and said it is completely factually wrong. Despite reportedly making oral observations about their inclinations to stay the order, but the order was not stayed. And that's the trigger. That's when the violence starts, because the issue becomes contentious. I always believe, Rajat, when there is an issue which can flare up, nip it in the bud. This could have been nipped in the bud. This terrible order of the Manipur High Court. Rajat.
Well, Arnab, you're actually right about this thing when, out of the blue, High Court came out with this order which had the potential of disturbing the very delicate fabric of Manipur. Respectfully to the High Courts, when judges are transferred from one High Court to the other, they come in from a completely different geography without understanding what potentially one order can result in completely tearing apart the fabric of a state. In my opinion, even the Home Minister has said the same thing. The entire trigger, though the state has always been in a tinderbox situation for several decades, but this moment it was an externally aided sort of a scenario wherein just a matchstick or just a spark could burn down the whole state. Having said that, 3rd of May was the Tribal Solidarity March, and there was certain violence which happened in Churachandpur district. 3, 4, 5 days after that, it resulted in Imphal violence. And the entire violence, there were thousands of FIRs which were filed. There were murders, there were arson, reports of arson, there were reports of rape also. The state police, which was falling short of number, falling short on arms because all the arms were taken away and snatched away. Paramilitary forces had to be deployed, but the priority of the entire police apparatus was to ensure that there is no more violence in the state. Combing operations were being done. They did not have the time to basically, collect the evidences and do justice to all the 5,000 plus FIRs which have been
Who didn't
filed
have the time?
Across districts, across the length and breadth of the state. And I think
they didn't have the time, or they didn't have the inclination.
Right now also it's an ongoing operation, Arnab. No, see, I think, if you go through all the details, there have been both the communities have filed FIRs, and I think it would take time. But right now, I mean, just yesterday, the IG police was being looted in one of the foothill areas where he was on a combing operation. It's a live situation there. It's not like, it has gone back to normalcy and this was just one incident which the police could have handled it or addressed. Yes, the evidence came in wherein you could identify these individuals with faces, and now the police had to jump in and try catching hold of them, performing combing operations to get hold as to all of these people have fled into the hills. Finding them, getting hold of them, arresting them is of paramount importance. But I think, I'm not there anymore, but what I can infer is that this delay has been that a lot of pending important cases are still there around the violence of those 4 or 5 days. After that, the situation has been limping to normalcy. There are few more stray incidents happening each day around the foothill areas, but the main cities are largely under control. As you said, it's a delicate situation. We all understand what this video has done to us has shaken us to the core. But
I still haven't. Someone has to take the blame.
That requires
Kirip Chalia. It's all everyone's being very considerate in their responses. But nobody seems to be willing to take the blame. The Meitei side will not take the blame. The Kuki side will not take the blame. The central government won't take the blame. The state government won't take the blame. The High Court will not take the blame.
Well, Arnab, if you permit me, and I'll be as sober as you are today. First of all, I'd say I will not go into the other comments made by other speakers, but I think there has been definitely a failure of intelligence, both of at the all India level, all India intelligence, as well as military intelligence. That has to be looked into, and I have been told that this matter is being taken very seriously in the center. I hope drastic steps are taken, because it is not because, as if on 3rd May some rally has happened and something has happened and some people came and they made this kind of things. That's why all this flare up took place and whatever is happening. I tell you, I am now almost 70. Northeast has seen so many insurgencies, so many violences, so many things. But has there been any such incidents against women? Has there been anything so atrocious, so heinous, and so shameful as this in Northeast? We have been destroyed. We have been emotionally defamed. Manipur has become a place of shame for all of us among the international community. The international level, so many videos are being played. I have with me 6-7 videos. I had given at my own way in social media some of this. But nobody knew about it. Looks like even the Prime Minister has not been fully informed. He doesn't know, as far as I know. He doesn't know anything, but he was not given a proper report either by the Manipur government, Manipur state intelligence. It has been a total collapse of the state intelligence. Secondly, there has been definitely partisan behavior by the state administration against the cookies. Cookies have got the backing of the extremists
against cookies.
The extremists were there.
You are saying the state government is anti-cookie.
Who made a yes, definitely, 100%. The information that I have is that the state government was totally partisan. Even when these rapes and mayhems were taking place, that administration, the police especially, took part. And there were police who took the other part also. And that because of this, there are blames coming into even politicians who made certain amount of concessions during the elections. I am not going into all those. I am not going into what you call, let us nip something in the bud. I am saying, Arnab, for heaven's sake, whatever is happening in Manipur today is an act against humanity. It is the most uncivilized, atrocious things which doesn't happen even in war. It doesn't happen in even Ukraine and in Russia. This has happened, and it has not happened for the last 80 years of insurgency affected Northeast, because this kind of things never happen, that a group of particular community people will go and raise somebody to the ground and behave with women in such a way. My goodness, some of the videos.
Pratim, go on, Abhishek.
Look at it. And not all these are made by some.
Can I please come in?
No, I'll come to you.
Go on, Abhishek, go on.
Bina, hold on. Pratim. Question is, because Arnab asked about the responsibility, let's get into specifics. Bina.
No, go on.
Charu, we'll come to you. To Pratim first. Pratim, since Arnab asked about the responsibility factor, let's get into some specifics and your response to that. You think that when this High Court order came, the centre could have taken a little more clearer and firm position on it?
Yeah.
And clarified, though, no, this is not happening? Or even the state government could have done that?
Abhishek, 100%. There has been a major gap between the High Court. You see, in any sensitive order, we understand that there has been a sensitization of the administration beforehand. If we see the chronology, it always happened. So first, either that was absent, or those who had the kind of inkling that it is coming, they were silent on it. There was a gap. We know about the tinderbox situation in Manipur, particularly the relationship between Kukis and Meiteis. It has been for last 50, 60 years. So they needed a flash. And whether there was a preparation for a flash from either side. I mean, it is not Arnab mentioned about the arrival of the foreign media on a particular day. It cannot be a coincidence. And I know in the overall subcontinent, there are reports even in Dhaka.
It's not a coincidence.
Manipur is discussing.
So we are in such a helpless situation that some media people from international press come, and then the whole there'll be rapes, there'll be murders. What are you talking?
There has been a failure. There has been a failure by the center, by the state, in picking it up. And let me, why the big question is why Mr. Modi didn't come up first. I understand. And going by the chronology, see, today he had something to speak on. But what happened was initially there must have been a gap where this whole thing has happened. Now, who is responsible for this? How much is to be found by them? But there has been a gap. Otherwise, this cannot happen.
Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, this cannot happen.
Yeah.
I will have to close at this point with a few, and I'm going to come back in detail to everyone I have not been able to give time to. Couple of tweets coming in here. Viewers on India with Manipur. Debashish Patanaik says steps to stop the poppy cultivation in the hills of Manipur must be initiated without any further delay. Rightly so. Ladies and gentlemen, also with us we have a tweet from Elena Sharma. Even if we agree that the verdict by the High Court was wrong, who gave the so-called one group to right to kill people? It's well within their right to protest, but they were moving around with AK-47s. And Sudhakar Shriyan says it's a horrible incident. Why the central and state government has not taken any action for 2 months? So the government is on the back foot. There should be a full debate in Parliament. Viewers, we are tracking it on the ground and on the channel. I shall see you tomorrow at 9. Good night and goodbye.
Two young women are stripped, paraded and gang raped. The video surfaces after 2 months. Only one arrest has taken place so far. Supreme Court taking suo motu cognizance of what happened in Manipur and the video. It also warns if it will wait for the government to act. In case the government does not, the Supreme Court says we would.
किसी भी गुनहगार को बख्शा नहीं जाएगा। कानून अपनी पूरी शक्ति से, पूरी सख्ती से एक के बाद एक कदम उठाएगा। मणिपुर की इन बेटियों के साथ जो हुआ है, इसको कभी माफ नहीं किया जा सकता है।
The Prime Minister promises strong action. He says the guilty will not be spared. The Chief Minister of the state of Manipur is under fire over the atrocities and the state opposition is calling for his resignation.
Successfully recovered 4 live hand grenades from one of the accused. The investigation is being continued.
More details and evidence against the Lashkar module. 4 live grenades found in the temple.
Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand.
मणिपुर की जो घटना सामने आई है, किसी भी सभ्य समाज के लिए ये शर्मसार करने वाली घटना है। पाप करने वाले, गुनाह करने वाले कितने हैं, कौन है, वो अपनी जगह पे है, लेकिन बेइज्जती पूरे देश की हो रही है।
Two young women are stripped, paraded and gang raped. The video surfaces after 2 months. Only one arrest has taken place so far. Supreme Court taking suo motu cognizance of what happened in Manipur and the video. It also warns if it will wait for the government to act. In case the government does not, the Supreme Court says we would.
किसी भी गुनहगार को बख्शा नहीं जाएगा। कानून अपनी पूरी शक्ति से, पूरी सख्ती से एक के बाद एक कदम उठाएगा। मणिपुर की इन बेटियों के साथ जो हुआ है, इसको कभी माफ नहीं किया जा सकता है।
The Prime Minister promises strong action. He says the guilty will not be spared. The Chief Minister of the state of Manipur is under fire over the atrocities and the state opposition is calling for his resignation.
Successfully recovered 4 live hand grenades from one of the accused. The investigation is being continued.
More details and evidence against the Lashkar module. 4 live grenades found from the terror accused in Bengaluru. The proof is out, but the Karnataka Home Minister says they cannot be called terrorists yet. The BJP is levelling charges of appeasement. Two young women are stripped, paraded and gang raped. The video surfaces after 2 months. Only one arrest has taken place so far. Supreme Court taking suo motu cognizance of what happened in Manipur and the video. It also warns if it will wait for the government to act. In case the government does not,